Let's begin with the very first shot. The trailer begins with Kody, alone in a room, and immediately, you sense it. The atmosphere is thick, the lighting is somber, shadows falling across his face. TLC isn't merely introducing us to Kody, they're introducing us to a man who's cornered, a man whose universe is dwindling. Now, consider how this is different from previous seasons. Then the trailers would usually begin with family gatherings, laughter, or some semblance of group drama. But here, just Kody, alone. That's not coincidental. TLC is giving us a message. This season is going to be about loneliness, loss of control, and perhaps even desperation. Pay close attention to how he sighs before he says anything. It's as if he's bearing the brunt of what's about to be said. And then, right before the camera cuts off, Kody is about to turn his head, as if he's addressing someone off camera. And this is where it gets interesting, because TLC doesn't show us who he's talking to. They want us to wonder, is it Robyn? Is it one of the kids? Or could it be someone completely new? And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this next frame, because the words he says next light the fuse for the entire trailer. Now, look at this second frame. Kody nods forward and utters the words, "I have to move on." And seriously? That one line could be the heaviest line in this entire trailer. Move on from what? Exactly? From Christine, who's already gone out. From Mary, who's been half in and half out the door for years. Or is it about Janelle, whose drama with Kody blew wide open last season? But here's the real twist. What if he isn't talking about the past at all? What if moving on means moving towards something new? A new relationship? A fresh start? Maybe even a different future that doesn't include the wives we've been watching for over a decade? And you can tell by his tone, this is not a sorrowful farewell. It's like he's making excuses for something, as though he's saying to us, see, I had no other choice. That's so Kody. Defensive, attempting to spin it before anyone else can. But this is where things get even more interesting. Because immediately after he says this, TLC cuts away so quickly, you'd blink and miss it. And during those 2 seconds, we see the very first reaction shot. Stick with me here, because this next frame is the one that fans are already freeze-framing and posting all over Reddit. You don't want to miss it. Observe Robyn's face here. The moment Kody utters that line, "I have to move on," TLC cuts to Robyn, and her response speaks louder than any words ever could. Her eyes open a little wider, her mouth parts, and then she glances down and away. That is not sadness. That is not even anger. That is shock, as if she just heard something she did not expect, or something she was not prepared to hear. Now we all know, Robyn has been Kody's closest companion in recent years. She's the one who held his hand when all the other relationships fell apart. So if she's reacting like this, that tells us whatever Kody just stated, or perhaps hinted at, wasn't on their agenda. And here's the twist. TLC doesn't provide us with her words, they provide us with her look, which is to say, they want us to make the connection. And fans are already doing just that. Is she shocked because Kody confessed something? Is she realizing she might not be the last wife standing after all? Or, and this is the theory making the rounds on the internet, is Robyn responding to the mention of another woman? And just when you're processing that, boom, TLC throws in another quick cut. And who shows up next is even more surprising. Here comes the one-on-one tease. So right after Robyn's stunned reaction, TLC hits us with something fans have been waiting for, the one-on-one moments. These are the raw confessional-style sit-downs, where family members finally say what they've been holding in. And this time, it looks like Kody himself is about to face the music. We find him in an underlit room, shoulders curled, leaning forward, and he utters the words, "I didn't mean to hurt you." Let's stop right here, because that line is carrying a lot of weight. Who is he speaking to? And more importantly, what is he apologizing for? If you pay attention, TLC is not showing the other person's face. We only see the edge of a fuzzy shoulder, perhaps a clump of hair, and then they cut away. That's typical TLC misdirection. They don't want us to guess. Is it Janelle? Is it Mary? Perhaps even one of the kids. Because let's be honest, last season wrapped up with explosive fights that weren't even exclusively between Kody and the wives. The kids, particularly the older ones, had their own hurtful run-ins with him. And this is where it gets really interesting. The tone of Kody in that sentence, "I didn't mean to hurt you," isn't warm, isn't soft, sounds defensive. Sort of like he's not owning up to it, but rather trying to spin things around to make himself look better. If you've been watching this family for decades, you know that's a trend. Kody tends to wrap his apologies in excuses, as if to state, "I'm sorry you're hurt, but let me explain why I was in the right. And bear with me here, because if you slow this scene down, the background detail may actually reveal who he's addressing." Let's discuss that detail now. In the background, behind Kody, on the wall, you can sort of see what appears to be a framed photo. It's blurry, but fans have already been analyzing screenshots, and some are convinced it's a photo of Janelle and her kids. If that's true, then boom, we might have our answer. This could be a sit-down with Janelle, which would make sense, considering how fiery their last conversation was. Remember when Janelle told Kody she was done being controlled? An apology moment between those two would be gold for TLC. But here's the plot twist. Immediately following Kody's combative apology, TLC provides a half-second cut of Janelle wiping her eyes. Is it related? Or is it editing trickery? Either way, they've framed it so fans will make the connection for themselves, and that's what powers all the online speculation. And here's another thing that really jumped out. The way Kody refuses eye contact. Even though we don't get a glimpse of who's on the other side of him, you can sense it from his body position. He keeps looking down, squirming, like he knows the words being hurled at him are harsh. That's the beauty of these one-on-ones. TLC doesn't necessarily need to play the entire conversation. They only require a few strategically selected clips to seed the drama in our minds. But here's the actual cliffhanger. After this, we have a fleeting glimpse, literally half a second, of Robyn sitting in the same type of chair, in the same type of room. Does that imply Kody has several one-on-ones in the works? One with Janelle, one with Robyn, perhaps even one with Mary. If so, that means TLC is not merely dangling apologies, but confrontations that can redraw the whole season. And believe me, if you consider this apology huge, wait until you see the shadowy figure TLC drops into the background of the next scene. This is where conspiracies begin to go wild. So yeah, this one-on-one tease isn't filler. It's the precursor to a bombshell. TLC wants us speculating. Who is Kody apologizing to? What did he do that was so hurtful? And is this even an apology, or is it just Kody spinning the story one last time? Because the next second could be the biggest enigma of the whole trailer. The face in the background that the fans believe doesn't belong to any of the wives. Now this is where the fans are losing their minds. So following Kody's one-on-one preview, TLC inserts something so fast you could practically blink and miss it. A broad shot, perhaps 3 seconds long, and off to the side, with a figure, you guessed it, doesn't quite resemble anyone we see. And this little flash of time has already set Reddit, Facebook fan clubs, and Twitter threads ablaze. Here's the shot. It appears to be a sit-down, maybe in Robyn's home. We have Kody in the shot, in mid-sentence, and behind him, just at the boundary of the frame, is what appears to be a woman. Long hair, fuzzy face, sort of pushed back into the background. TLC doesn't hang around. They cut away pretty quick, which makes it all the more fishy. Because if it wasn't important, then why put it in at all? Now the theories are everywhere. Some fans think it could just be one of the Brown children, maybe one of the daughters hanging out in the background. But others are convinced TLC deliberately blurred this person because she's someone new, someone we're not supposed to know about yet. And here's where it gets interesting. Keep Kody's earlier line in mind. I have to move on. Add this enigma figure, and all of a sudden the puzzle pieces begin to fall in place. What if TLC is giving us a hint that Kody indeed has moved on with someone else? Don't scroll away now, because the next few frames might be the biggest hint TLC has ever dropped about Kody's future. But let's take a step back. If this is actually someone new, TLC is playing a risky but genius game. They've never introduced a possible partner like this before, not even with Robyn when she entered the family. Her entry then was big promoted and hyped as the new story. This is secretive, almost clandestine, as if they're going to see if fans catch wind of it first, before confirming anything. On the other hand, some supporters contend it might be editing deception. TLC likes to cut together pieces from various conversations to fabricate drama that doesn't exist. Perhaps this out-of-focus person is entirely irrelevant. Perhaps it's somebody on the staff who happened to get caught in the frame. But then again, Would TLC actually allow something that sloppy to be featured on a slick trailer? Not a chance. And don't even get me started on Robyn's reaction earlier. If Kody is actually suggesting someone new, that look on her face suddenly makes so much more sense. Shock, betrayal, confusion, because I bet you'd imagine thinking you were the last wife standing, only to find out Kody might already be looking around. That plotline alone would generate an entire season. Pause, lean in tone. Now here's the kicker. Viewers have gone frame by frame, zooming in, lightening the screenshot, and some are adamant that the figure appears to be wearing a light blouse, something different from what any of the wives ever wear in those sit-downs. Is that a stylistic element on the part of TLC, or is it merely coincidence? That's how they get us going. Exactly. And the wildest theory, others believe TLC seeded this number deliberately as a red herring. That is, they want us to speculate in advance about the new woman theory, just so when the season finally does premiere, they can yank the rug out from under us with something entirely different. It's intelligent marketing, because all of us fans are now bickering online over this shot. And if you thought that was crazy, wait till you see what TLC does next, with something as straightforward as an empty chair. So yes, this one mystery figure in the blurred background is sufficient to completely change the tone of the trailer. Whether it's real, staged, or just some savvy editing, TLC achieved precisely what they desired. We're talking. And the fact that it fits so beautifully into Kody's move online is just too convenient to discount. Because in the next scene, TLC presents us with a family sit-down, and one vacant seat that could say more than any fuzzy figure ever could. And here's the family tension shot. Hardly out of that anonymous background figure, TLC delivers a group scene. On first glance, it appears your standard family sit-down, everybody seated in a circle. The atmosphere tense, voices in a hush. But the more you look at this shot, the more you're convinced something is amiss. Because right in the middle of the frame, there's an empty seat. And trust me, TLC does not do things like this by chance. Everything from these trailers is meticulously set up to generate discussion among fans. And this vacant seat is practically screaming for attention. Now here's the thing. The Browns always employed these group sessions as a means of pretending to be one, even when they weren't. So holding up an empty chair is symbolic. It's not actually a physical representation of absence, but a visual one. But an absence of what? That's the million-dollar question. Some speculate at once that Christine jumped, as she's gone on with her own life, and is at this point entirely out of Kody's sphere. But Christine's narrative has been tied up fairly definitively. She's no longer lurking in the background. So why would TLC hype her absence so melodramatically? Some people claim it might be Mary. Mary has been half in, half out for years. After all, an empty chair for her would not be out of place. But once again, TLC has already extensively covered how distant she is. So unless there is a dramatic twist regarding Mary not wanting to film or being blacklisted, this seems too on the nose. This is where things get juicy though. What if the vacant chair doesn't belong to a departing person, but to a fresh face? Picture this. TLC introduces us to an empty seat, cleverly suggesting that there is a new contestant who hasn't been shown yet. It connects straight back to the hazy background figure we recently discussed in Session 5. A vacant chair is like an invitation, hoping someone will occupy it. And let me tell you, if a vacant chair seems minor, wait until you observe how followers are relating it to Kody's moving online earlier. The speculations are crazy. Now, let's get into the details. The chair is in the right position. It's not stuck in the corner. It's there in the circle, like it's held for someone. The rest of the family is sitting, huddled in, anxiety carved on their faces. But this chair is starkly empty. TLC pans past it in a hurry, but long enough to make sure we see it. And let's not forget the expression. Janelle's arms are folded tightly, and she's frustrated looking. Robyn is choked up, looking as if she's about to cry. The children we do see are uncomfortable looking. It's as if they're all responding to the fact that whoever was supposed to be in that seat didn't have the decency to come, or possibly wasn't invited. That one detail changes the whole context of this season. Could that vacant chair be an actual absence, such as one of the family members not attending, or is it instead a symbol that TLC has made, hinting at family harmony breaking down? In all honesty, it can be both. The Brown family's narrative has always teetered on the reality fiction line, and this is the case in point. Pause, lean in tone. But here's the part that really got my attention. After showing us the chair, TLC cuts to Kody telling us, some things can't be fixed. Couple those two things together. And all of a sudden it seems like this vacant space isn't just because someone is missing, it's because something broke and can't be fixed. And fans are already arguing this left and right online. Others believe that the empty chair represents Kody himself leaving the family dynamic entirely. Others believe that the empty chair is a portent of sitting down with someone new, possibly even another woman. Whatever the reality is, TLC seated that chair like a time bomb in the middle of this trailer. And remain locked in, because the very next scene has Kody uttering something that turns this entire moment upside down. Because immediately after the shot of the vacant chair, we get a defensive sound from Kody's confessional, and the words he uses next might alter how we view the entire scene. Let's freeze this moment. So immediately after that vacant chair flashes on screen, TLC doesn't hesitate to cut us directly to a Kody confessional. And genuinely, this may be the one moment in the entire trailer that is most telling. Kody stares straight into the camera, shoulders clenched, voice weighed down, and declares, "I had no choice." Now, if you've been watching Sister Wives for as long as I have, you're well aware that that line is classic Kody. He always sets up his choices as if his hands were tied, like he's somehow a victim of circumstance instead of the choice maker. And that's why this small confession is so heavy. It's not what he's admitting to, it's how he's admitting to it. First of all, let's dissect the delivery. His tone is snappy, defensive, near whiny. His brow is furrowed, his jaw clenched. This isn't a tranquil explanation. This is a man attempting to convince not only the audience, but perhaps even himself, that he didn't have control over what occurred. That body language yells guilt laced with justification. So the question is, no choice about what? Some fans believe he's referring to Christine's departure. That after all, there was just no sense keeping the marriage intact. Others take it that he's talking about Janelle's explosive fight last season, that he had no choice but to draw a line. But then, there's the more sinister interpretation. What if this no choice line is about moving on to someone else? And hang around here, because the way TLC cut this scene could possibly demonstrate that his words aren't directed at the past. They're directed at what's on the horizon. Let's examine the editing. Immediately after he says, "I had no choice," TLC doesn't leave us in this confessional room. They cut instantly to a second flash of the family sit-down, with tension, side-eye looks, and the feeling of people who most definitely don't believe what Kody is telling them. That's clever editing. They link his no-choice words directly to the family reaction, as if saying, sure, that's Kody's explanation, but look at how no one else is swallowing it. Now, veteran viewers understand this trick. TLC enjoys pitting Kody's words against footage that proves him wrong. He'll state something such as, "Everybody was okay with it," and bam, they cut to a wife rolling her eyes. It is a clever reminder that Kody's account of things is seldom the whole story. But here's the thing that makes this clip truly remarkable. When Kody utters the words, there's this little dart of his eyes off camera, a split second, really, as if he's glancing off camera for affirmation. Perhaps at a producer, perhaps simply out of nervousness. And with that one glance, the entire line is less truth and more spin. Pause, lean in tone, and viewers are already arguing. If Kody had no choice, then what sort of scenario are we set to witness in season 20 that pins him so hard he needs to defend himself in the trailer? Here's a crazy theory taking off that his no choice is linked to the vacant chair we just witnessed. That perhaps he or TLC attempted to introduce somebody new to the family mix, and the aftermath was so volatile, it tore the family further apart. If that is true, then this line is not about old drama, it's about upcoming drama that TLC has not yet fully shown us. And wait until you hear what one of the wives says in the next clip. It's just a single word, but it might be the sharpest dagger we've ever heard in a Sister Wives trailer. Because right after Kody insists he had no choice, TLC gives us one of the wives whispering a word that flips the whole trailer upside down: betrayal. And here's the word that changes everything: betrayal. So right after Kody's defensive, "I had no choice" moment, TLC hits us with a whisper. Literally a single word. One of the wives, her voice shaking but adamant, utters betrayal. And the trailer cuts so rapidly afterwards. It feels almost as though they wanted us to hang on that single word, let it sink in before they reveal anything else. Now, why does this resonate so much? Because betrayal is not slang. This isn't "we fought" or "we disagreed." Betrayal means crossing a threshold. It means someone violated trust at the most intimate level. And when it comes from one of the wives, it's not about anger, it's about something that feels irrevocable. First, let's attempt to match the tone. Internet fans have already begun analyzing the audio, slowing it down, turning the pitch up, comparing it to previous interviews. All of them agree it sounds like Janelle. Her voice does have that sharp, controlled quality, the kind where she doesn't blow but slices right to the heart of the matter. If this is Janelle, then that's huge, because she's always been the wife who attempted to balance truth and cool reason. For her to utter the term betrayal, that indicates that we are not dealing with minor family theatrics. We are dealing with something that cuts deep. Don't type away, because listen carefully and you might hear that TLC may have cropped this word over a shot that conveys a totally different narrative. This is what I'm saying. When we hear the term betrayal, TLC reminds us of a brief moment of Robyn with tears in her eyes. And that is an interesting edit. Was the term directed towards Kody, or was it directed towards Robyn? Consider it. If the wives are betrayed, perhaps it's about Kody's loyalty prioritizing Robyn over all the others, shutting himself off from the rest, not balancing the family the way he used to vow. But if the word betrayed was focused on Robyn, it introduces an entire different storyline, that perhaps the wives feel she knew something, fostered something, or even enabled something, that would make her tears less hurtful and more compromising. And then there's the third option. What if the betrayal isn't all about the past wives at all but about someone new, tying us back to that muddled background figure from before? That would be a scandal. Picture one of the wives realizing Kody is already emotionally or even romantically attached to someone else. Betrayal would be the only word that would suffice. Pause, leaning in. This is precisely why TLC delights in deploying single-word clips. They're ambiguous enough to ignite every theory in the book, yet strong enough to have us all arguing for weeks. Another subtlety, the sound design of the trailer here. There's a brief pause just before betrayal, a split second of almost dead air. That silence makes the word hit harder. And just a moment later, the music rises into the sweeping, portentous sound, suggesting that this is not a throwaway line. TLC is inviting us to take it as the essence of the trailer's suspense. And here's the wild part, because the next shot could reveal to us precisely who this betrayal is directed at. We see Kody again, this time slamming his hands down on the arm of a chair. His face is red, his eyes wide, and he looks angrier than we've seen in years. That's not coincidence. TLC is linking the word betrayal directly to his reaction. Whether he's guilty or defensive, the trailer is cutting it so we, the audience, connect the dots. And if you've been watching enough Sister Wives, you also know anger is Kody's default when he's being cornered. The fact that TLC chose this exact clip right after the betrayal whisper tells us season 20 might be setting up the most personal, raw confrontation yet. Because right after this explosion, TLC shows us something nobody expected. Robyn saying she's done protecting Kody, and that flips the whole narrative yet again. Now here's the moment nobody thought we'd ever hear from Robyn. So after that heavy betrayal whisper, and Kody's explosive chair slam, TLC gives us one of the most shocking Robyn clips we've ever seen. Eyes red, voice breaking but sharp. She says, "I'm done protecting Kody." Now let that set in. Robyn, the only wife who's ever had his back, defended him in every interview, and essentially played the role of his #1 cheerleader, is suddenly drawing a line in the sand. This is the woman who for years was villainized as Kody's favorite. And now she's telling us that she's done protecting him. That one sentence could be the biggest plot turn of the entire preview. Let's dissect this. First, the presentation. Robyn isn't calm here. She's upset, nearly desperate. But there is an edge in her voice, too. This isn't her pleading with Kody to change. It's her snapping finally. Fans have long argued whether or not Robyn contributed to enabling Kody's behavior by covering for him, diffusing his temper, and attempting to excuse his action. But if she is actually saying she's done, that would be one of two things. Either she's utterly burnt out, or she's attempting to shield herself from the backlash of whatever Kody's about to spill. Don't go anywhere, because the way TLC edits this line might be the strongest indication yet that Robyn isn't as firm in her status quo as she once was. Here's the edit. As soon as Robyn utters "I'm done protecting Kody," TLC cuts to Kody walking out of a room. We don't hear conversation, but we see the back of his head, flying hair, tense body. That cut isn't coincidental. TLC saying Robyn's breaking point is linked directly to Kody losing control. And frankly, fans are shocked. For years, Robyn has been accused of being the shield that Kody covers behind whenever the other wives resist. Christine said so last season straight out that Kody devoted all his time, attention, and allegiance to Robyn. Janelle alluded to it as well. So picture the irony after all of that. It's Robyn herself who finally declares she's done being his shield. And this is where the speculation blows. What in the world drove her to this? Was it the betrayal the wives discussed above? Was it Kody's alleged interest in another woman? Or might it be something we haven't even had a clue about yet, such as a financial bombshell, or an expose of how Kody really reacted to the family breakup? Online fans are already abuzz with speculation. Some believe Robyn's statement is a soundbite engineered by the producer. Perhaps she uttered it out of frustration during a smaller fight, and TLC used it out of context for added drama. Others, however, think it's genuine. That after all these years of shielding him from backlash, Robyn finally caught on that Kody's actions are hurting her reputation as well, and she doesn't want to get caught up with him. And if that's true, Season 20 might actually show us a new dynamic. Robyn versus Kody. That's something we've never seen before. And trust me, you're gonna want to stay for this, because the next frame might just be TLC's boldest tease yet. Right after Robyn's line, TLC flashes the season tagline on screen. No more secrets. Bold white letters, dramatic pause, ominous music. And then, a fast blink and you miss it montage. Kody slamming a door, Janelle whispering, Mary shaking her head, and Robyn sitting completely alone at a table. That's the imagery TLC chose to leave us with after her big declaration. Alone. The message is clear. If Robyn is genuinely done protecting Kody, she might not only lose her status as his defender, she could find herself alone with everyone. That's a setup so huge. Already fans are speculating this season will be the most explosive since Christine left. Because in the last seconds of the trailer, TLC hints at something even wilder. A voice that we didn't expect to hear under any circumstances. Christine's. And just when you think the trailer can't get any crazier, Christine's voice breaks through. At the very end, TLC releases the kind of teaser that makes all fans' jaws drop. The screen blackens, the music dips, and we hear it, Christine's unmistakable voice speaking the words, "You can't keep lying to everyone forever." Now that is master editing. Christine doesn't appear on camera, at least not from the trailer. It's just her voice, kind of like a specter floating over the entire family saga. And since it's the very last thing we see, it bookends the whole season around her existence, despite her having moved on from Kody technically. Let's break it down. Why would TLC select Christine to end the trailer? Easy. Christine is now the fan favorite truth bringer. She's the one who dumped Kody on her own terms, established her independence, and never looked back. So when she declares, "You can't keep lying to everyone forever," it doesn't just ring like a comment, it rings like a warning. A mic drop. Don't click away yet. Because the way TLC scheduled Christine's voice could actually expose the theme of the entire season. Think about the placement. We've just seen Robyn breaking down, Kody angry, the word betrayal hanging in the air, and the tagline, "No more secrets." Then Christine's voice comes in, almost as if she's the narrator of the chaos, even though she's not physically there. That's not accidental. TLC is telling us that Christine's influence is still looming over the family. Her departure wasn't the end, it was the beginning of Kody's unraveling. Fans online are already turning it into theories. Some speculate that Christine's voiceover might be from a sit-down interview shot after she quit, where she recounts everything she saw. Others propose that TLC just brought her in for a single cameo, just to deliver this truth bomb in person. And then there's the most wild theory. Christine's voice is not just retrospective, it's premonitory. That she could show up somehow during the season to have it out with Kody again in person. Now, whether or not she even appears on screen, her inclusion in the trailer has one definite consequence. It repositions Kody as the man who's running out of time. The deception, the rationalization, the "I had no choice" monologues. They've all worked up to this point, where even Christine, the wife who departed him, is criticizing him from the sidelines. And in all sincerity, that's the reason that this trailer is so effective. It doesn't simply express drama, it constructs one. It begins with intrigue, accumulates through betrayal, culminates with Robyn's surprising split, and concludes with Christine's voice dropping the final bomb. It's composed like a movie trailer, and that's precisely why it cannot be stopped being analyzed frame by frame. And if you're still reading, let me knock you with this, because the Christine clip could also be TLC's way of indicating that this season isn't really about rebuilding. It's about exposure. Exposure of what? That's the million-dollar question. Is Kody concealing something new? Is Robyn holding back a secret? Or is the betrayal greater than we could possibly imagine? Christine's line leaves us with no solutions, just possibilities. And that's what makes this trailer one of the most effective in Sister Wives history. So here we are, 10 sessions, all connected, each one leading us deeper into the chaos of season 20. From Kody's defensive "I had no choice" to the blurred figure in the background, to Robyn's stunning "I'm done protecting him," and finally Christine's chilling voice cutting through the noise. It all builds one clear message. The family may be more fractured than ever, but the truth is about to spill out in ways none of them can control. Because if Christine's right, and Kody really can't keep lying forever, then season 20 won't just be another chapter. It'll be the reckoning fans have been waiting for.